Hello, welcome to the art show again. Today we've got a theme of Mother's Day, but we're going to superimpose it on the last art show that we did that was actually based on Easter, but we created a number of little flowers that we're going to reuse here. Because I also had mentioned we did these with the little petals, 2 petals, and the sticks that we painted with the felt marker, and we made some little flowers. Now I'm going to use that as a centerpiece for a Mother's Day tray. But equally, we could use them for making a card for Mother's Day, which we did mention in the last episode. But I just thought I'd show you what it would be like if you take the same things, you lie them down flat, and you glue them on a piece of card. Now, can I just suggest that if you want to put it into an envelope, you get the envelope and you make the card to fit the envelope. It's often more difficult to do the reverse. So I have got an envelope that matches the card, and I've taken the same flowers that we did at the last episode, and I've glued them down. Now I'm going to add to this, I'm going to make some fruit bones. And here I have some melon. And can I say I find it easier to cut the slabs of melon, pull away the seeds, and then just take the inner sides out. If you're the kind of person who wants to dig all the seeds out, do so. I just find it a little bit easier. Then you can scrape a little bit there and get that off. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut little slices into this. And I'm going to take just ever so slightly wedges out. Can you see that? And cut them here, and here, and here. Now, do be aware of the fact that I've made these boats a little bit thinner perhaps than they need to be. But it's up to you. If you want to put wider ones, it just means you're going to have to put double the fruit in. And I find it just a tiny bit more difficult to manipulate them. So I'm just taking the slightest little wedges off, you see, so that you have a way of putting the fruit in. So here we'll do that one again. In there. So get your distances. A little bit. Although you will find that when you open them up like that, they will also have a bit of a thing. So then I have some fruit. And the fruit that I have here is sliced up strawberries. This is kiwi that I have peeled and sliced, and then of course some berries, and I think I'm going to use my inevitable, I may need these for decorating. Alright, so next we're going to do is we're going to take and fill these little gaps up with strawberries and kiwi fruit. Imperfect slices can go into somebody's mouth. This one looks like it needs a bit more of a wedge. Notice how those strawberries almost look like hearts. You could use that to its best advantage if you like. Okay, we're still badly putting these in. And as I said, they can be very nice little hearts. So if you wanted to intensify that, you could turn that into a heart that you leave as a decoration somewhere. A little bit on the thick side. I think I'll cut him in half. And of course you can just keep cutting those things open to fit. The thicker slices I find a little bit more difficult to fit in. Okay, and now we'll put the kiwis in. And this is obviously up to you to use whatever fruits that you want. You could put bananas, you could put apples dipped in cinnamon. You could use any number of things, but these are the ones that I kind of like. And we'll stick some of these in, just so they don't fall off. And you might want to move this tray a few times. So and there, we kind of have them falling apart, but working. We are trying to get this so that it's something that children can use. It's fast, it's furious, but there's really no baking involved. And it does make it easier for children or people who aren't into gourmets. Anyone can decorate a few. And there we have our fruit bowl, which we will put on there. And keep. Now, as I say, I think it would be better to have two smaller ones than a larger one, but it's up to you. You could have a half. Okay, and here's and we'll put it in there for our tray. Now, we'll take and put these away. Can I just suggest that you wrap the rest of your melon up with the seeds still in it. Wrap it up well and turn it upside down on a plate. And you will be ready for using it another day. It will keep its freshness a lot better. Okay? Now that we have these done, I'm going to put this on. And we'll clear up and go into another. Okay. Okay, so now we are going to get and start. Next, we're going to start with crayons, because we've had a couple of people who have asked for things that children can do. So I am doing children and food at this time, and cards. So what I want to do is to take a card, and once again I want a card that I have an envelope to, so I've cut the card to the shape of my envelopes, which are the same. And I will start showing you how to make a slightly original type of card if you want to do some drawing. So all I have here is my well-used box of crayons, a number of colors that I'm going to bring out here, and I'm going to work with. This is a tiny bit of vanilla, and this is a thick version of just ground instant coffee. Now, what can you do with that? Well, let's say we take and we put, and I'm going to make it a flower, because that's one of the themes today is flower. Okay, and really hit it hard because we want to use it as a resist, so you want to work it in hard. And maybe I'll put a second one here. And I'll put some other colors in here. Rough and ready, but you're mixing a few colors this way and adding a bit of color resistance. But the next color I'm putting on is relatively dark because it's going to be coffee. So I want to add as many different colors as I can, but not so dark that they're going to be lost in the coffee. And it's just rough and ready. I'm not trying to show you the most gorgeous flower in the world. Just loose and relaxed, but do push hard on that crayon so that it works well as a resist. I like lots of different colors. Can bring some of that color back into here. Okay, and I'm going to take and I'm going to write with this one, Mum, here. You can write whatever you want, but we're going to put that in. And again, you really want to try to make it as hard as possible and light, okay? Now, I'm going to put my colors back in my color thing as well as possible. And I'm going to take a paintbrush, and I probably really should have a thicker brush than this because I'm doing a wash. But because I'm doing several colors, I'm going to take vanilla. And the reason that I'm doing vanilla is that it gives a very light color, but what you'll have is a smelly card. And who doesn't like to have a little bit of smell with their artwork? So I'm just taking the vanilla and giving it a basic wash around so that and now I'm going to take the coffee and I'm going to just work a little bit into here as well, and especially along here so that hopefully Mum comes through. So we're going to put a little bit, and maybe I'll put a bit of a frame around here. It's up to you with what you do. I kind of like frames around my stuff. And work that dark color back into here a bit. You can take it off again and get as mucky as possible. I'm just doing that as a frame. There's absolutely no reason. Your artwork is your artwork. There is no right and no wrong, and definitely you don't have to copy. This is just to give you an idea. And when that's dry, you could put felt markers around for little decoration, or just let it dry. Now, one of the problems about letting it dry is that it may buckle. So be careful about the buckling. You can always try to smooth it down later. I think I mucked this one a bit too much, but we have another one that we finished earlier that looks like this. Okay, and there is one that's a little bit less nervously done in the middle of the camera. I'm going to put that away and put this away, and we're going to try one other thing. And the other thing that we're going to do is paper flowers. Okay, we did the flowers last program, that's true, but this is a slightly different one. Slightly bigger, slightly different, and a bit more complicated, I must admit. Remember, the last one was just 2 petals you put around a toothpick. This one you're going to need a piece of tissue and then maybe some tape. You might need this, scissors, and you're going to need wire. Now, the wire is got to be thick enough to stand upright if you want it to stand somewhere, and you want to have it curled at the top. So you can, if that you have one that's very thin, you can double it over, or you can just, and then right at the edge of it, you're going to want to leave it slightly curled. Okay, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of what the curling looks like. Okay, now that's to stop your petals from falling through. Next, you're going to take your tissue paper, and this is just one piece of tissue paper. You could get very, very specially into it, but I'm just going to use the folds that the tissue paper comes into, and I'm going to fold it, leave it in the folds, the natural folds. It's not going to be perfect, but that's not going to matter. We're going to try to keep it into the shape of a square. Okay, so now we have a, hopefully the folds aren't too bad, but we've got the shape of a fold in a square. That's what we were aiming for. Now we're going to take the outside, this is your folded edge, we're going to turn that over and do this to it. And you then can take and put this over to here. Now notice it's almost like you're doing a serviette. You have this sticking out here. Oh, well, maybe we'll do it the other way. Okay. Anyway, here is what you have. It's folded over to here. And what you're going to do is to get a shape that you're going to cut around it here. And there's various shapes you can do. This is one, okay, that you could just go around there and cut it, and you will end up with a scallop that looks like that because it's rounded. Or you could make it doubly, where you're doing various hoops, little tiny ones, and you end up with a scallop that looks like that. Now the finished product of your piece is going to be, this one is going to be bigger. If you would continued folding it and did it again, you would end up with something that's slightly smaller, and that would work just as well. Okay, so we're going back to this one and folding it to there. So I'm saying you can do this, where you do a rounded one. And these different shapes, so you could do square ones, but I think the rounded ones look better. You can do any number of different shapes here. These are the more traditional shapes, is just the round petals. And of course you can make them small or large, and you'll just need a lot more of these. And once you open them up, you have your rounded petals. If you have a few petals that didn't quite make it to round, trim them off, and that's what you're going to have. Now we're going to take these ones that we have finished here, and we're going to show you how to assemble them. Okay? Just a second. I've got this one. I've doubled over it. That I think will be too thin. But we've got that one, and we're going to take these, and because there is already a fold mark, if you look very closely, you've already folded these, so you know roughly where your center is because of the fold. So you want to go right into the center. And push it through. And this, just check that your hole wasn't so big that it's going to go. So that stays there. And you're going to feed these in slowly but surely into your wire. They are delicate. Things do tear, but that's usually why you have a couple of extras. Okay, so I'm just threading these here. And you can go as many as you want. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these that I've put on, but you can go as many as you want. This is really just designed to be for Mother's Day tray. A quick thank you, Mum tray to go with our fruit bowls. Now, once you've got that down there, you're going to put a bit of tape here to stop them from falling back down your wire. So there's your... Okay. Now we're going to squeeze it together to give it, and then slightly open it up so that you can slowly, I'm holding it right there where the tape is, you can bring it back into its own shape that you want. And there we have a flower for you. Now you can leave it like that, or my inevitable way of hiding the fact that we have tape there is to take the felt marker and felt marker it. And now we have... Now if you wanted to, you could just tape a few branches off of this, or just leave it the way it is. Okay, so we're going to put that with our second tray. And put this out of the way. This poor thing is still wet, so we'll leave him out of the way. And we'll put that so there's our one tray. And here's our second tray. And there you have it, our Mother's Day special. Flowers and food, and flowery food. And I hope you have a wonderful day for whatever women that are in your place. We did talk about possibly putting in your cards some little notes like, I promise to call you every day, or every week, or once a week, or once a month, or more than once a year, I would suggest. You might offer free hugs in there, a number of coupons for a hug. You might say, I'm going to learn to say I thank you and mean it. Or you might put a little coupon that says, I promise to do a job without you having to ask me, nag me, bribe me, or get angry. Something like that. But there is any number of things that you can put in your cards to make somebody realize you do care about them. Have a wonderful day. And maybe you'll do this some other day, if not at Mother's Day. Et bonne fête de mère à tous les mamans. So, this is for you, Mom. Or would you prefer the other?